Studio Bones went in on this episode of My Hero Academia. I mean, holy crap. This, I will say, is probably my favorite episode of the entirety of Season 4. And they absolutely nailed every key moment that was displayed throughout this episode. Honestly, better than the manga. I'm very happy to finally see so many scenes like this animated. It puts a big smile on my face. But okay, so a long time ago, about almost 2 years ago, when these events happened within the manga, I remember making a special little intro song to kind of celebrate, what happened for Eri. For instance, her finally having a smile on her face, a little girl finally learning how to smile. It's such a major moment, honestly, for the story. After everything that has happened throughout the overhaul arc to this arc now, Eri finally smiled and everything. It was worth it in the end. And I made a little intro kind of celebrating that. And so I kind of want to, bring up the past a little bit and kind of show you all that are probably newcomers to the channel or those that never actually watched my manga reviews. I want to kind of show this of what, how inspirational it is. It's a little bit cringy, but it really brings me back to just when I first experienced this moment in the manga. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the journey. So yeah, I know the intro thing is cringy, but it's also just very emotional. I remember really being emotional when I compiled that, and I spent a little bit creating that, getting the images throughout the arcs and stuff, putting it in it. It really just, I don't know, it's why I love My Hero Academia. It's why I really love this series so much. It's moments like these within the story that just make me really appreciate the journey that we've had so far throughout the start to where we're at now. And Eri as a character, honestly, is just clearly a fan favorite. And I think many can agree she's a wonderful character. And I think that after everything that has happened, it's so good to see her smile again. The darkness of Overhaul literally leaving her behind and her having a bright future. It's emotional, it's symbolic, and I love Studio Bones for putting so much, emphasis and passion into this episode for these key moments. But enough about that. Let's also talk about the play. So, obviously, this is probably one of the biggest moments of the episode, seeing the entire Class A perform. It blew my freaking mind. It was way better than the manga. The manga's artwork is beautiful on these scenes. I'm not trying to undermine the manga by any means. The manga's equivalent is absolutely fantastic. But when you put it up against voice acting, beautiful music, visuals, and the movement and all that, it just, obviously you know which is going to be better. There's really no comparison. But most of the time, as I've always said when it comes to anime, most of the time anime misses. They don't really adapt certain scenes properly, and it causes it to where it's just a lower form in comparison to, let's say, the manga or the original source, etc. And I'm so glad that Studio Bones always hits the right marks when it matters. When it really does matter, when certain scenes are really key, they really do go in. They bring in their A-team, they bring in everyone to make those scenes truly the best that they can be, and these are one of those scenes. And this is what really makes me appreciate the people that work on this anime, because they're not just focusing on the fighting, they're not just focusing on the action, beating the crap out of each other, they also focus on the slice-of-life moments that do count, the interactions between the characters to show their progression, their growth as people, like for instance Togata and Eri, and even Izuku as well. It's wonderful moments like these that really just make me appreciate this anime so much, but also appreciate Horikoshi-sensei as a writer. But okay, so talking about the scene, the play, it all around was just the vocals, just the music in general and English and all of that, I think was just so good. It didn't sound bad or anything, and honestly, I want that OST. Like, I want that song. I probably will be playing it on repeat for the next few days or couple of weeks just because of how good it was. I really need to actually look up that song after I finish this video and upload it. I'm definitely going to do that. I probably can find it most likely, the My Hero Academia account on social media most likely has already posted it. I probably can find it if I check them, but for now though, I really like that song. It's great, and I never imagined it would be that good when I first witnessed it in the manga. I'm just like, holy crap, this is incredible while watching. I teared up. Like, I legit started crying in this episode. I cried twice, actually. I cried twice while watching this episode of My Hero Academia. The first time was just seeing Aries smile. Like, just seeing her legitimately smile in the darkness phase. But also another moment is just when Jiro finds out what it means to be a hero, or her message, or her meaning of being a hero. It's a beautiful moment because... Actually, I take that back. I cried 3 times because the gentle stuff, too, which I'll get in that in a second. But basically, it's an emotional episode. It's a really emotional episode, and the Jiro stuff really hit me very hard because Jiro, she's a character that is a fan favorite, but we don't really know a whole lot about her. We know some details, but not a lot up to this very point of this episode, and we finally get a little bit more context to why she wanted to be a hero. The moment when she decided to be one, she confronts her parents, and, this is a scary moment. Confronting your parents and be like, I want to be a hero, and going against the very thing that they kind of raised you to do, etc., might be very scary. Example, Jiro's parents are individuals that love music. They love song and all of that. And so because of this, it would make sense if Jiro was to follow in their footsteps and actually do the very same thing that they're doing and not try to be a hero. But she wanted to be a hero, not do that. She loves music and she understands the passion and effort that her parents have done for her to learn music, teach her, etc. But she wants to be a hero. And her parents, instead of just, slapping her or whatever, they're like, look, we're fully behind you. We support you. We want you to be happy. And if it makes you happy to be a hero, we're completely fine with it. And it's moments like these that just really goes to show, if it wasn't for supportive parents, Jiro might be in a very different situation. She had very supportive parents, and it's very different contrast in comparison to what Gentle went through. What we saw in the previous episode about Gentle's parents weren't really supportive. They kind of threw him out. He was alienated. He was isolated from everyone. His parents were just kept not wanting to support him for wanting to be a hero, while Izuku's parents supported him. And then you had it to where, we see Jiro's parents support her. It just shows the contrast and the helpfulness and all that. And it just shows if there's one thing that's out of place and not correct, things can go a completely different direction that you never thought was possible. And that's kind of the big example here. And I think that's a wonderful moment, a key moment of Jiro's story and why she is doing this right now in terms of singing and all that for all the people in the school, but also being a hero too, and the way they mix and they don't clash is beautiful. But let's move into the next part, which is the whole segment with, Gentle. Gentle's moment is truly incredible too. It's another emotional moment added on top of everything else. It's already emotional throughout this episode because Gentle easily has become probably a fan favorite character for many that have seen his story for the first time these past couple weeks. And after that emotional moment of last episode, many can probably truly understand him as a character. And it makes it very clear within this episode that Gentle is literally Izuku if Izuku did not get the power of One for All. If things were slightly twisted just a little bit more, Izuku literally would have become Gentle. And that's interesting to think about, and this episode makes that very clear, and it makes Gentle's story so emotional. It's kind of what if, like a what if Izuku never got One for All, if Izuku never managed to get the chance to be a hero, what would he have done? Would he have really distorted into what to Gentle is? Like, would he have tried to be a villain just for the sake of being a hero, etc.? There's so many weird things you can kind of pull from that and interesting details, and I think that's a really emotional moment too, especially when he's trying to protect, Labrava, and he's trying his best to say he's brainwashed her. He made it to where she is actually innocent and all that. She's an innocent girl that didn't do anything. She was just, brought along because he's an evil man that brainwashed her, and he's trying his very best to protect her, and she also doesn't want to give up on her hero, which is Gentle, and it's just so emotional, especially within the police department when they're talking to Gentle and Labrava. There's a curious thing that pops up, like, Gentle, was asked a question like, we have ways to find out if she's being brainwashed or not. It's very easy to tell, and it's clear she's not. It's very clear that she loves you, and Gentle continues to put on a story that she is brainwashed, but it's very apparent she's not. He's doing that to protect her because he loves her, and she's going along with it and saying she loves Gentle because, she loves him, and it's not because she's brainwashed. And when you see one of the officers talk to La Brava, they're like, hey, you could potentially use this knowledge, what you know right now, to help the side of good, etc. And she's like, I'm not gonna help anyone unless it's Gentle. And so this could lead into maybe Gentle actually having what he wants. And that's kind of where the story is obviously directing him towards, is that he might not be a hero necessarily, like title of hero, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he might not become one. For instance, the police force might hire him to actually be with them and help them with crimes, etc. It would be a very good conclusion, honestly, for Gentle's character. It's another what if, because if you remember at the beginning of the story, when Izuku confronted All Might, and, Izuku's like, I don't have a quirk in it, and All Might's like, look, you can easily be a police officer. It's kind of what's going on here, is that Gentle is potentially becoming a police officer, and La Brava is going to help him and all that to be able to put away the bad guys. It's a really cool conclusion, honestly, to Gentle's story, and it's not all that sad. He might have to serve some time a little bit, but overall, he might actually have a chance to really do what he wants to do, to be a popular hero within the police force and save the day with La Brava beside him. So it's just all around, it's some really good stuff. So, anyways, I guess let's talk about some of the funnier moments and all that.
Hello there.
We have the scene with Class B and the whole Prisoners of Azkaban thing. It's, oh my.
Good knuckles for me. And Rohan will answer.
Like, yo, it really just says a lot, honestly, of how big of a fan Horikoshi is of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and just pop culture in general, because, Gandalf, Gondor, the whole I am your father, and all that type of stuff. It's just like, really? Like, you can just see the passion that Horikoshi has for, pop culture, Western culture, with just those few moments alone within this episode, which, by the way, I'm very shocked that that even made it within the anime, because, look, if you've ever watched JoJo, if you know about JoJo, you know that JoJo is constantly censored because it has a lot of pop culture references with famous music and artists, etc., and the names are completely changed. And I'm just very impressed that the subtitles didn't censor it, and, the voice acting didn't censor it. We legitimately had everything pretty much the same from the manga, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate how it kept that parody intact with the whole Gondor, Prisoners of Azkaban, Lord of the Rings, and, Star Wars stuff, Romeo, Juliet, all in one. It's brilliant, honestly, and I'm happy to see that wasn't really tampered with. They kept the integrity of that funny moment. So yeah, overall, it's a good episode. It's honestly a fantastic episode. It's one of my personal favorites of this season, and Studio Bones, they really went in. They went in on this episode. They did not hold back any punches. They truly wanted to make a spectacular episode to kind of wrap up this arc and give a good conclusion to Eri, to Gentle, but also to Togata. It's all around great. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.